Duke of Marlborough is a title in the Peerage of England. It was created by Queen Anne in 1702 for John Churchill, 1st Earl of Marlborough, the noted military leader, and indeed an unqualified reference to the Duke of Marlborough in a historical text will almost certainly refer to him. The name of the dukedom refers to Marlborough in Wiltshire. It is one of the few titles in the peerage which allows for jure female inheritance, and the only current dukedom to do so. The Earldom of Marlborough was held by the family of Lay from its creation 1626 until its extinction with the death of the fourth Earl in 1679. The title was recreated 10 years later for John Churchill. History of the dukedom. Churchill had been made Lord Churchill of Weymouth in the Scottish peerage, Baron Churchill of Sandridge, and Earl of Marlborough in the Peerage of England. Shortly after her accession to the throne in 1702, Queen Anne made Churchill the first Duke of Marlborough and granted him the subsidiary title Marquess of Blandford. In 1678, Churchill married Sarah Jennings, a courtier and influential favourite of the Queen. They had 7 children, of whom 4 daughters married into some of the most important families in Great Britain. 1 daughter and 1 son died in infancy. He was predeceased by his son, John Churchill, Marquess of Blandford, in 1703, so, to prevent the extinction of the titles, a special Act of Parliament was passed. When the first Duke of Marlborough died in 1722, his title as Lord Churchill of Weymouth in the Scottish peerage became extinct and the Marlborough titles passed, according to the Act, to his eldest daughter Henrietta, the 2nd Duchess of Marlborough. She was married to the 2nd Earl of Godolphin and had a son who predeceased her. When Henrietta died in 1733, the Marlborough titles passed to her nephew Charles Spencer, the 3rd son of her late sister Anne, who had married the 3rd Earl of Sunderland in 1699. After his older brother's death in 1729, Charles Spencer had already inherited the Spencer family estates and the titles of Earl of Sunderland and Baron Spencer of Wormleighton, all in the Peerage of England. Upon his maternal aunt Henrietta's death in 1733, Charles Spencer succeeded to the Marlborough family estates and titles and became the 3rd Duke. When he died in 1758, his titles passed to his eldest son George, who was succeeded by his eldest son George, the 5th Duke. In 1815, Francis Spencer was created Baron Churchill in the Peerage of the United Kingdom. In 1902, his grandson, the 3rd Baron Churchill, was created Viscount Churchill. In 1817, the 5th Duke obtained permission to assume and bear the surname of Churchill in addition to his surname of Spencer, to perpetuate the name of his illustrious great-great-grandfather. At the same time he received royal license to quarter the coat of arms of Churchill with his paternal arms of Spencer. The modern dukes thus originally bore the surname Spencer. The double-barreled surname of Spencer-Churchill, as used since 1817, remains in the family, though some members have preferred to style themselves Churchill. The 7th Duke was the paternal grandfather of the British Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill, born at Blenheim Palace on the 30th of November 1874. The 11th Duke, John Spencer Churchill, died in 2014, having assumed the title in 1972. The 12th and present Duke is Charles James Spencer Churchill. Family seat. The family seat is Blenheim Palace in Woodstock, Oxfordshire. After his leadership in the victory against the French in the Battle of Blenheim on the 13th of August 1704, the 1st Duke was honoured by Queen Anne, granting him the royal manor of Woodstock, and building him a house at her expense to be called Blenheim. Construction started in 1705, and the house was completed in 1722, the year of the 1st Duke. Duke's death, Blenheim Palace has since remained in the Churchill and Spencer Churchill family, with the exception of the 10th Duke and his first wife. The Dukes and Duchesses of Marlborough are buried in Blenheim Palace's chapel. Most other members of the Spencer Churchill family are interred in St Martin's Parish Churchyard at Blaydon, a short distance from the palace. Succession to the title. The dukedom is the only one in the United Kingdom that can still pass through a female line. However, unlike the remainder to heirs general found in most other peerages that allow male preference primogeniture, the grant does not allow for abeyance and follows a more restrictive semi-salic formula designed to keep succession wherever possible in the male line. The succession is as follows: the heirs male of the first Duke's body lawfully begotten, his eldest daughter, and the heirs male of her body lawfully begotten, his second and other daughters, in seniority, and the heirs male of the bodies lawfully begotten, his eldest daughter's oldest daughter, and the heirs male of her body lawfully begotten, his eldest daughter's second and other daughters, in seniority, and the heirs male of the bodies lawfully begotten, all other daughters of his daughters, in seniority, and the heirs male of the bodies lawfully begotten, and other descendants into the future in like fashion, with the intent that the Marlborough title never become extinct. Succession to the title under the first and second contingencies have lapsed. Holders of the title from the third Duke trace their status from the third contingency. It is now very unlikely that the dukedom will be passed to a woman or through a woman, since all the male line descendants of the first Duke's second daughter Anne Spencer, Countess of Sunderland, including the lines of the Viscounts Churchill and Barons Churchill of Wychwood and of the Earls Spencer and the entire Spencer Churchill and Spencer family, would have to become extinct. If that were to happen, the Churchill titles would pass to the Earl of Jersey and his family. The heir male of the first Duke's granddaughter Anne Villiers, Countesses of Jersey, daughter of Elizabeth Egerton, Duchess of Bridgewater, the third daughter of the first Duke. The next heir will be the Duke of Buccleuch and his family. The heir male of the first Duke's great-granddaughter Elizabeth Montagu, Duchess of Buccleuch, the daughter of Mary Montagu, Duchess of Montagu, the daughter of the first Duke's youngest daughter Mary, Duchess of Montagu. The fourth surviving line is represented by the Earl of Chichester and his family. The heir male of the first Duke's most senior great-great-granddaughter Mary Henrietta Osborne, Countess of Chichester, daughter of Francis Osborne, 5th Duke of Leeds, only child of Mary Godolphin, Duchess of Leeds, daughter of the first Duke's eldest daughter Henrietta Godolphin, 2nd Duchess of Marlborough by her husband Francis Godolphin, 2nd Earl of Godolphin. Other titles of the Dukes. Subsidiary titles. The Duke holds subsidiary titles: Marquess of Blandford, Earl of Sunderland, Earl of Marlborough, Baron Spencer of Wormleighton, and Baron Churchill of Sandridge, all in the Peerage of England. The title Marquess of Blandford is used as the courtesy title for the Duke's eldest son and heir. The Duke's eldest son can use the courtesy title Earl of Sunderland, and the Duke's eldest son's eldest son the title Lord Spencer of Wormleighton. The title of Earl of Marlborough, created for John Churchill in 1689, had previously been created for James Leigh in 1626, becoming extinct in 1679. Foreign titles. The first Duke was honored with land and titles in the Holy Roman Empire. Emperor Joseph I created him a prince in 1704, and in 1705 he was given the Principality of Mindelheim. He was obliged to surrender Mindelheim in 1714 by the Treaty of Utrecht, which returned it to Bavaria. He tried to obtain Nellenburg in Austria in exchange, which at the time was only a county, but this failed, partially because Austrian law did not allow for Nellenburg being converted into a sovereign principality. Some authors misread the name of the county as Melenburg. The first duke's principality title of Mindelheim became extinct either on the return of the land to Bavaria or on his death. The empire operated Salic law, which prevented female succession. Coats of arms. Original arms of the Churchill family. The original arms of Sir Winston Churchill, father of the first Duke of Marlborough, were simple and in use by his own father in 1619. The shield was sable, a lion rampant argent, doublures by bendlet gules. The addition of a canton of St. George rendered the distinguishing mark of the bendlet unnecessary. The Churchill crest is blazoned as a lion couchant guardant argent, supporting with its dexter for poorer banner gules, charged with the dexter handapaume of the first, star 4, in recognition of Sir Winston's services to King Charles I as Captain of the Horse, and his loyalty to King Charles II as a Member of Parliament. He was awarded an augmentation of honour to his arms around 1662. This rare mark of royal favour took the form of a canton of St. George. At the same time, he was authorized to omit the bendlet, which had served the purpose of distinguishing this branch of the Churchill family from others which bore an undifferenced lion. Arms of the first Duke of Marlborough. Sir Winston's shield and crest were inherited by his son John Churchill, 1st Duke of Marlborough. Minor modifications reflected the bearer's social rise. The helm was now shown in profile and had a closed grille to signify the bearer's rank as a peer, and there were now supporters placed on either side of the shield. They were the mythical griffin and wyvern. The supporters were derived from the arms of the family of the first Duke's mother, Drake of Ash. The motto was Fil pero desde shadow. The first Duke was also entitled to a coronet indicating his rank. When the first Duke was made a Prince of the Holy Roman Empire in 1705, two unusual features were added: the imperial eagle and a princely coronet. His estates in Germany, such as Mindelheim, were represented in his arms by additional quarterings. Arms of the Spencer-Churchill family in 1817. The fifth Duke received royal license to place the quarter of Churchill ahead of his paternal arms of Spencer. The shield of the Spencer family arms is quarterly argent and gules, in the second and third quarters a fret or overall on a bend sable 3 escollops of the first. The Spencer crest is out of a ducal coronet or a griffin's head between two wings expanded argent, gorged with a collar gemel and armed gules. Paul Courtney observes that it would be normal in these circumstances for the paternal arms to take precedence over the maternal, but because the Marlborough Dukedom was senior to the Sunderland Earldom, the procedure was reversed in this case. Also in 1817, a further augmentation of honour was added to his armorial achievement. This incorporated the bearings from the standard of the Manor of Woodstock and was borne on an escutcheon, displayed overall in the centre chief point, as follows: argent, a cross of St. George surmounted by an escutcheon azure, charged with 3 fleurs de lis or 2/1. This escutcheon represents the royal arms of France. The resulting heraldic achievement is escutcheon, quarterly first and fourth, sable, a lion rampant argent on a canton of the second, across gules, second and third, quarterly argent and gules. In the second and third quarters a fret or overall on a bent sable 3 escallops of the first in chief. On an escutcheon argent across gules surmounted by an escutcheon azure charged with 3 fleurs de lis or crests. First, a lion couchant guardant argent supporting with its dexter 4 poorer stuffer with a banner gules charged with a dexter handapaume of the first. Second, out of a ducal coronet or a griffin's head between 2 wings expanded argent gorged with a collar gemel and armed gules. Supporters, 2 wyverns' wings elevated gules. Motto: Fil pero desde shadow. These courted arms, incorporating the two augmentations of honour, have been the arms of all subsequent Dukes of Marlborough. Motto: the motto Fiel pero desdichado is Spanish for faithful though unhappy. Desdichado means without happiness or without joy, alluding to the first Duke's father, Winston, who was a royalist and faithful supporter of the king during the English Civil War but was not compensated for his losses after the Restoration. Charles II created Winston Churchill and other Civil War royalists knights but did not compensate them for the wartime losses, thereby inducing Winston to adopt the motto. It is unusual for the motto of an Englishman of the era to be in Spanish rather than Latin, and it is not known why this is the case. List of title holders. Earls of Marlborough. First creation. The Earldom of Marlborough was held by the family of Leigh from 1626 to 1679. James Leigh, the first Earl, was Lord Chief Justice of the King's Bench in Ireland and then in England. He was an English Member of Parliament and was Lord High Treasurer from 1624 to 1628. In 1624 he was created Baron Leigh and in 1626 Earl of Marlborough. The third Earl was his grandson James, a naval officer who was killed in action with the Dutch. James was succeeded by his uncle William, a younger son of the first Earl, on whose death in 1679 the earldom became extinct. Earls of Marlborough. Second creation. Other titles. Lord Churchill of Eyemouth, in the county of Berwick, and Baron Churchill of Sandridge, in the county of Hertford. John Churchill, first Earl of Marlborough, became Duke of Marlborough in 1702. Dukes of Marlborough. Other titles. Marquess of Blandford, Earl of Marlborough, in the county of Wiltshire, and Baron Churchill of Sandridge, in the county of Hertford. Other titles. Lord Churchill of Eyemouth, in the county of Berwick. John Churchill, first Duke of Marlborough. Soldier and statesman John Churchill, Marquess of Blandford, elder son of the first Duke, died unmarried. Henrietta Godolphin, second Duchess of Marlborough, eldest daughter of the first Duke, succeeded her father by Act of Parliament. William Godolphin, Marquess of Blandford, elder son of the second Duchess, predeceased his mother without issue. Anne Spencer, Countess of Sunderland, second daughter of the first Duke, married Charles Spencer, third Earl of Sunderland. Other titles. Earl of Sunderland and Baron Spencer of Wormleighton. Charles Spencer, 3rd Duke of Marlborough, 5th Earl of Sunderland, second son of Lady Sunderland. George Spencer, a 4th Duke of Marlborough, elder son of the 3rd Duke. George Spencer Churchill, 5th Duke of Marlborough, elder son of the 4th Duke. George Spencer Churchill, 6th Duke of Marlborough, eldest son of the 5th Duke. John Winston Spencer Churchill, 7th Duke of Marlborough, eldest son of the 6th Duke and paternal grandfather of Winston Churchill. George Charles Spencer Churchill, 8th Duke of Marlborough, eldest son of the 7th Duke. Charles Richard John Spencer Churchill, 9th Duke of Marlborough, only son of the 8th Duke. John Albert William Spencer Churchill, 10th Duke of Marlborough, elder son of the 9th Duke. John George Vanderbilt Henry Spencer Churchill, 11th Duke of Marlborough, elder son of the 10th Duke. Charles James Spencer Churchill, 12th Duke of Marlborough, eldest surviving son of the 11th Duke. The heir apparent to the dukedom is George John Godolphin Spencer Churchill, Marquess of Blandford, eldest son of the 12th Duke. Family tree.